Recording is in progress.
My brother, it's good to be good.
Oh, okay. There is no.
Always, it's good to be good.
I was telling my daughter yesterday, I said, you see now that you are.
States, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nevada, and Texas account for around 24% of the nation's population, but about 50% of
Can't hear the song.
Oh, well, thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that, guys. Hold on one second. Remember, we're co-creating this, so look out for me and I'll look out for you. Just 1 second.
Lift every voice and sing till the heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stormy the road we trod, bitter the chasing blood, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat and not a weary feet, come to the place for which our parents sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the Son. Now from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is rest. God of our weary ears, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy mind led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places of God where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you so much. Elder Cox, please proceed.
Can everyone see that? Can everyone see my screen? Hello?
Yes, I can. It looks great.
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear.
good. Okay. So what is our motherland, our native land? I can't see you all anymore. Can someone tell me what is our native land?
Africa.
Africa.
So as our prayer and reflection today, I'm inviting everyone to let's get on one accord and simply breathe, giving thanks to our Almighty God, most powerful, great God, for every single breath. Let us breathe together. As we breathe together, we affirm, we confirm, we declare that we are better together. We are stronger in mind, body, and spirit together. We honor the Most High God of our hearts and our understanding. We honor the holy ones, our ancestors, those who were strong and proud and had strong shoulders for us to stand upon. They laid a foundation for the work that we have done and continue to do. We honor the holy ones, the ancestors who have gone on in 2021. We honor our elders, those who have labored for decades to bring us to this point in this day. We honor ourselves with radical self-care, and we breathe. We feel the breath and give thanks for every breath. We breathe and we declare and commit to radical self-care for the benefit of our own purpose, our own causes, our own calling to this work, our posterity, those that are visible and yet invisible. We breathe together on one accord for ourselves, our collective. We breathe on behalf of 1.6 billion and beyond. We breathe as one. We take a breath, we say Ashe, and Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen and Ashe.
Amen.
Thank you so very
Amen.
much.
Ashe.
Yes.
Yes.
We still have people incoming, so give us just a few moments to allow the new guests to come. I do see our chairperson, Kofi, is here. Oh, Herschel Daniels is here as well. For those of you not speaking, please put yourself on mute for the recording purposes, please. Thank you so very much.
Herschel Daniels, this is Michael Beatty. I ain't seen you in 20 years.
if you're the same Herschel Daniels.
Well, I'm still alive.
Good. Long time no see. Oh, that back on La Brea, wasn't it? Dang, bro, that was at least, that might have been 30 years ago.
Yeah. You remember David Morrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, His Excellency David Morrow, the Senior Honorary Consul.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all didn't know I was his military attaché.
Well, whatever you want to call yourself, it's okay with me.
All right.
Herschel, the floor is yours.
All right. So I was just watching on Haiti. Okay. And receiving a briefing on the Black farmers. And we're going to talk tonight about the permanent form on people of African descent. But Andrew, I'm turning it over. Have we started with Lift Every Voice and Sing, and we already done the?
Yes, however, we have new guests, so I'd like you
So
to
I'm going to
introduce.
turn the floor to you to bring your guests in. And talk
No.
about-
We need you to introduce yourself, introduce the Friends of the African Union, introduce the African Diaspora Directorate, introduce New Future Foundation, introduce the Cash Community, introduce UNESCO, so our guests here will know what the heck we're doing, please.
Wow. All right. So see that we have people who have known me before. Okay. So when I started out in Shaker High, when I left Shaker, I went into the military. I did a variety of things. I came out as Naval Telecommunications System Integration Command. My name is Herschel Daniels Jr. I come from Shaker Heights, Ohio, vis-a-vis Shaker. I'm now living in Cincinnati and Hamilton County. I was one of the people who helped elect the first Black woman as ever in the state of Ohio as a county commissioner. Now, in the work that I am currently doing, as far as that is concerned, I am the chairman of Friends of the African Union. And chairman of Friends of the African Union was started at the call of Ambassador Ali. That call from Ambassador Ali came about because I had previously worked for His Excellency David Morrow, who was the Senior Honorary Consul for the Republic of Guinea to the United States. And we had what would have been called today the inspiration to create the Black Folks Plan. Okay. Back then, it was in the context of the Organization of African Unity. And the Organization of African Unity had a vision to create a second generation of leadership that would unite the continent. Obviously, that has not happened yet, but in 2013, the plan was implemented to do that. And that work was done in the United States by the first ambassador from the African Union to the United States, Ambassador Ali, who held a meeting on December 16th, 2011, where she invited those of us in the African diaspora. And when that meeting, I took some people who were from Senegal, who were my partners. And when we went, we didn't see the VE 100. And that's good, Andrew. Go ahead and go back there. Okay. And so we understood that there needed to be a new type of organization. And so next month, we created that organization, Friends of the African Union, to be an economic, a social, humanitarian, charitable, and civil society organization to work for the benefit of the African Union and the African diaspora in their host countries, with us being here in America, 55 million people of African descent in our families. And when I say in our families, okay, That includes families such as, yeah, right there, operational principles. Okay. So we adopted these operational principles that support the African Union Constitutive Act. Now, you have to understand that that Constitutive Act only involves those on the continent. It does not involve anybody, other countries, the 16 other countries that are headed by people of African descent and are majority people of African descent. We're 7 votes shy from changing that constitution, okay? And so as a consequence, but at the time when we started it, that's why we were under the AU. And so the whole idea, okay, is to create the diaspora globally within the context of the African Union has a method for onboarding ourselves, okay, in the African Union. And the second ambassador from the African Union did not teach us that. And so now the third ambassador from the African Union is here to teach us that. And so in that, to make that happen, we support, you know, so when we started, okay, we were under Millennium Development Goals, we're now under Sustainable Development Goals, and the entity for civilian civil society is the African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, CEDAW, and that are ways that we onboard into the African Union. But that all changed on August 2nd. Okay, but one of the ways that it changed, okay, let's go back to the African Diaspora Directorate, Black Folks Plan. Okay, and so this is the organization that was created in 2019. And so the Africa, for the members of the African diaspora, it was created as a neutral organization under the Brotherhood and Sisterhood International. Go to the concept note of the creation of the African diaspora. Okay, up on the top right there, top right, yeah, to the right, there you go. Okay, so it was created, if you just go blackfolksplan.org, all this will come up. And so you'll see that this is created under the concept of the working group of experts of people of African descent on March 2019, that we proposed that this organization be created. And that this organization was created with the UNIA, Sons and Daughters of Africa, the Black Wall Street Cooperative, the African American Agriculturalists Association, Friends of the African Union, Sons and Daughters of Africa. From that, it started operations on May 2015, and it was operating in the United Nations in terms of the working group of experts of people of African descent, and then the data mapping. And so we put all the plans of operation, okay, into this, in the concept. So with the idea in 2019, okay, and by the way, and when we were talking about the transatlantic slave trade, we also brought up and made sure that people knew that there was 20 million Africans who were in the Arab slave trade. Okay, it's not just the transatlantic, but it's the Arab slave trade that was actually larger. Okay, so we were organized, go to the African American History 1619, 2019. Okay, and so we were organized to start operations on May 25th, 2019. And so this was American law. Now, unfortunately, people, and just bring down that sign, the first Africans in Virginia, okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so the first Africans in Virginia, okay, the English colonies that would become America, all right, was August 25th, 1619. And yes, we don't know if they were enslaved or indentured, okay? But we do know that was the beginning in the English colonies. That was the beginning of the African Diaspora Directorate on August 25th, 2019 in Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, Ohio, and Los Angeles, California, as an operation that would both be for reparations. In terms of our reparations is a public-private partnership. And that public-private partnership, is based on the idea that the Japanese Americans received $20,000, and you can go to reparations now. And that the Japanese Americans received $20,000 in 1988. When you pro rata that from 1988, to 2019, and take it back to the beginning of the country on March 4th, 1789, through August 20th, 1866, that it turns out that the 4.7 million Africans times the $1.15 million equals a value of 5.2 trillion, and economic damage like the 120 million that Tufts University said that Black farmers lost from 1920 to 2018 is about $800 billion. And together that's $6 trillion. And so we were founded on the idea that America, can follow a script to address its racial history. And that the idea that, as President Biden said, that we as a country are a great country because we are not afraid of our history, that we were born in genocide and in slavery, but that we have a solution for that. And so if you want to read more about the American history portion of this, you can right there on that page. But Andrew, go to reparations page. And so in reparations, scroll down. So the whole idea is a $6 trillion reparations for Black folk in the updated Universal Periodic Review Public-Private Partnership. And we have a use of proceeds. That use of proceeds is based on, a use of funds, that is given here. And we have, we're slicing this like we now have the Black Folks Plan for Black farmers as part of this. We have, and so basically it's $1 trillion for the 30 million Americans who are created as people, unique people here in the United States. People of the Thomas Jefferson children is a great example, where his wife, her sister, her half sister, who was enslaved and bore him children. That's among those people. Go back up and I'll quickly go down the list, so that people understand. These are top line. So the trust fund is for descendants of American slavery. Housing, our housing plan is for 7 million homes based on the Department of Labor that says for every billion that you put in to housing, you create 25,000 well-paying jobs. And again, this is a 75-year project, that is based on $298 billion worth of bank-based community benefit agreements with banks like Truist, banks like PNC, Fifth Third, Key Bank, Huntington, and the like, Federal Reserve banks. Workforce program is different than the reentry program. Reentry is not only reentry from a prison, but reentry from the military, reentry from mental illness, reentry from physical illness, versus a workforce skills training program versus what we need to do to reset our educational infrastructure, and that funding that we can leverage in business, okay, as well as when we originally did this was pre-COVID, okay, so like our Black Folks Plan for Healthcare is now a $1 trillion program that draws on money for reentry, education, business, transportation, environmental, and slice it for healthcare. Transportation is to create the shipping lines, okay, to the airline with the C-130Js, okay, that this whole program is good for America in terms of manufacturing. The environmental is addressing that. As a matter of fact, we're going to be at COP26, okay, right here, okay. And the global trade now is dedicated through the Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, okay. So then the Black Folks Plan, go to Black Folks Plan. And so the Black Folks Plan is that reparations plan that you saw, okay? The key part of that is that HR 40 that everybody likes to talk about, don't pay attention, is that we have 190 right there, okay? A little bit more, right? Yeah, okay. That we have 193 co-sponsors in the House, the HR 40 right now. So it's past the whole idea of it just being a Black thing, okay? It is an American thing. This is an American. And so in 2016, now Biden has just done this too, is that in 2016, Obama let the working group of experts of people of African descent come to the United States and prepare a report. Now Biden on day one prepared an answer to that report using Executive Order 13985. And so we answered that 2019 with the Universal Periodic Review of Nations for the United States, the Universal Periodic Review, that hashtag UNUPR is what this is all about, that there is a process in the United Nations that reviews human rights for every member state in the United Nations and the 2 observer states. In the United States, that program is that we submitted a solution set. And so I will stop there and take any questions. And there's my partner, Queen Mother, Dr. Dolores Blakely, is with us today. So yes, Andrew, you can put up New Future Foundation, and she'll give people a background on New Future Foundation.
Coming right up. Welcome, Queen Mother.
She's on her phone. She might not have heard.
Queen Mother, I'm around the world, as you know. That was dealing with Senegal, the project. Chairman Daniels, we have already met with the president advisor on the project of Senegal. The Ark of Return from the United Nations to Senegal is the gateway. And you know that we are very much involved as a catalyst, all of us, a catalyst to returning the family home to the soil of Mother Africa. In the Harlem Street Nun book, it talks about Goree Island, not Goree Island, I'm sorry. It talks about Ghana, living in the slave house, which no one had ever done that before. That is in the book, the Harlem Street Nun book of some years ago, before Barack Obama went to the slave house in Ghana as a head of state, which some of us requested him to do it, and he did it. The one who recorded that story is Black Enterprise, A Woman with a Cause. If you can get that paper or that magazine, please see the story before President Barack Obama actually went to the first slave house. He went further than that slave house. He went to a place called Senegal, Goree Island, to that slave house as well. That's the second one he went to as head of state. And I think it's imperative that we look at this all leave for the monument at the United Nations, which is the Ark of Return. And the young man who was the architect on that design come from a place, his family come from a place called Haiti. And all of us know what's going on in Haiti right now. My children are crying around what's going on in Haiti right now.
Yeah,
And so
Queen
I
Mother.
figured out, yes.
Yeah, so I talked to state earlier, okay, the talk about aid coordination. I did get a briefing because, I used to live in Port-au-Prince.
Yes.
Because I'm an oceanographic tech.
Yes.
And so, so we've got the connection through the United Methodist Church to send supplies at no cost.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Our
so
young
that's
people
already
are
set up.
suffering.
And
They're
I'll have more details on that tomorrow.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All
Please.
right.
That's why I'm on the phone. So you see Queen Mother on the phone, and here is our little one. And I named him. I gave him his name at the African burial ground. This is the young man who did the Ark of Return at the United Nations and did the burial ground in the United States of America, the African burial ground. It's done by our dearly beloved son here, Rodney. Leon is the one who did it. Okay, and I named him. I gave
All
him
right.
a sacred name from the African
Oh,
burial
yeah,
ground.
yeah. So you
So
need to
it's
tell
an
people
honor.
about the Ark of Return.
Right,
Because
it's an honor. It's an honor seeing him on the screen. Powerful young man, and the conscience of his work for the UN, which the Secretary General Kofi Annan dedicated on that day. And with that dedication, I was there for the dedication. And I went around the world and standing there praying and reflecting. So it's in the media that Queen Mother was there on that day. And so the Ark of Return is for us to return. And the Ark of the Return of going home, the Ark of going home. And this is what the elders just did in Ghana, West Africa. So I'm just so moved about the energy of the ancestors and how the energy is moving all of us in the holistic approach for Mother Africa for sustainable and economic development. Africa will never be free and made whole again without the 55 million displaced Africans of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade. That is the puzzle of that of life itself, of making us whole again. And most of the elders who have lived to be in their 80s and 90s have stated to Queen Mother, bring the children home. So I'm still overjoyed that the oldest survivors of our divine family in the United States of America has sojourned home. And with Queen Mother being a catalyst for that. And here is the Ghanaian cloth, again, is placed around me that I gave to them. And thanks to John Moss being a part of that, on the Trail of Tears in the middle of the night, we are riding around in a car in a place called Greenwood, Tulsa, praying to the ancestors of indigenous land that they hold. And I thanked the indigenous people, which I am part Cherokee of the land, for allowing us to live together and work together and survive with the African descendants of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade. And I took the Cape home to a place called Goree Island. Juneteenth, it went all around the world from the United Nations, that visit. But the Cape of indigenous people of this land, I gave thanks to them on the shores of Goree Island. Took them with me and give thanks of the Native Americans allowed us to enter into their space, their sacred and holy space on the Trail of Tears. So again, I say thank you for allowing Queen Mother to be a part of that, of going home for Juneteenth. And today I receive a call, which I may be traveling again, far and wide. But I ask for all of you to keep the prayers lit for our divine family at this time. So as the Queen Mother is quite busy in the time of crisis and the time of pain of our divine family. So please excuse Queen Mother of being on the phone.
I understand, Queen Mother. So for those of you who don't know, Queen Mother is such that in 2017 at the African Week in the United Nations, where all of the African Union, the African Development Bank, IMF, Africa, everybody, she was designated by the presiding officer to represent us all in civil society, because Dr. Dolores Fatima Blakely, who is now a chaplain, is also an ennobled Queen Mother of the Akan people, who is also a PhD from Columbia University and a Fulbright scholar. Okay, so when you know, I know people hear Queen Mother, they think UNIA and Queen Mother are self-appointed titles. That is not FAU's Senior Queen Mother. She is a reason to be Senior Queen Mother, because in Ghana, that we were there when what would be called the Chief of Staff to the then Queen Mother alive, who is now an ancestor, came to New York with her entourage and stayed at the home of the permanent representative from Ghana, and that they had a meeting, and it was peers, and that they were looking for their Queen Mother, okay, who had been appointed for us in the African diaspora to come back together. And as she gets ready to go to Ghana to give in person such a report, we look forward to supporting her in those efforts that we kicked off.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Herschel. If you could be so kind as to move to the African Diaspora Directorate, since Carolyn is here, and also Kofi. And then just to let you know, earlier today, His Excellency Sharif Balde was on a very important call, and we're having a worldwide call to save Kunta Kinte Island. So I think this is very relevant to Queen Mother, but we also have other guests.
Andrew,
yes.
Andrew, I talked to Balde, so that there's one priority, and then we'll go to that priority. The priority of peace in Africa. His Excellency Balde, will you please take the stage and have a discussion on those two issues?
Thank you very much, Brother Hassel Daniels. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Greetings. I salute you with the greetings of peace to everybody in the room, with all protocols duly respected and observed. As Brother Hassel Daniels rightly stated, homecoming is very essential, and also the resurrection of the civilization of our people that started civilization in the whole world was anchored on a very peaceful and harmonious interliving of different people in the then land of Africa, where we had all excellencies being practiced in Egypt, and we welcome all and sundry and lived happily in Egypt. So that brings us to remind us of the very important apostolic journey of His Holiness Pope Francis to the United Arab Emirates that took place from the 3rd to the 5th of February 2019. We just cannot guarantee peace without respecting our interreligious differences and accepting it, protecting each other. The Pope and the Mufti, the Sunni head of one of the biggest Islamic sects in the world, in Egypt, signed an agreement. And this is not just a piece of paper signed, but it reflects the living day-to-day lives of Muslims and Christians around the world. I can give the honorable audience here an example. I am a practicing Muslim, but from midnight today, I'll be busy sending out messages to those Christians who celebrate the feast of Saint Mary, the Mother of Jesus. In the Gambia, Muslims and Christians, and our government has even declared a public holiday on Monday in observance of the holy day of St. Mary's Assumption. So that shows you that the best way to guarantee peace, the reason I took Gambia as an example is because of the unique harmony that exists between all religions and people of any traditional belief harmoniously without any differences. So in trying to identify our uniqueness and rediscover what made us great, that enabled us to start civilization and build edifices, science, and wonderful philosophies that people from around the world came to Egypt to learn from, is because our beautiful harmony of accepting everyone for who he is, or for who he or she is. In this regard, the Gambia, as a small nation, we are the only nation that jealously guard and protect other religious minorities. And those religious minorities also respects the majority and accepts them. We go into each other's festivities and burial ceremonies, sad ceremonies, happy ceremonies. I believe that must have been the reason, or one of the reasons, that prompted the African Union to handpick or single out the Gambia and choose to build their headquarters for the African Union Human Rights Commission, which is headquartered in the Gambia. And with our people now being identified in the general body of the United Nations, we should have been the first group to be identified, because humanity originated from us. So we should not be a last comer to any humanitarian or organization for humanity. But better still, being the last doesn't mean you are the least. I believe humanity, through our people of African descent, we still have a lot to teach them by accepting our differences in whatever belief we have, and we jealously protect each other to establish justice within ourselves, and then we can move as a people. And I like the first slide that was displayed on the chat, on the shared screen, Ubuntu. I am because of you, and you are because of me. So we have to practice that and live that spirit. We have to live it, not just only have the words. So in this note, I am sure together as a people of African descent, irrespective of wherever you are from, I understand the pains of those who were enslaved, like Queen Mother rightly stated there, the pains. But I would also always like to remind everyone within the same breath that that same pain that was inflicted on the enslaved, in fact, the pain was much more from the families that they were torn away from. So the DNA of pain is on both sides of the Atlantic. The families that lost their able-bodied men and women and forcibly detached from their beloved families by feudal powers and taken on slavery, those families suffered a traumatic spiritual pain, just like the enslaved, what they went through. So I believe in coming home and the Ark of Return, we have already built an Ark of Return, which is very, very synonymous to the Ark of Noah. Now, both Muslims and Christians, we believe in the Ark of Noah, and history has proven that. But we need to reverse this voyage, negative voyage that our ancestors were forced to take from Africa to the Americas and bring in a flotilla of ships and take their descendants in very prestigious and positive spiritual journey on the same Atlantic Ocean back to the motherland. In this note, I urge all Muslims to jealously protect Christian and other religious worshiping places, and I urge also all the religious believers to protect Muslims and other believers' religious places, because we are all one people, one creation from one creator. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you. And so questions so far, it is in the chat. Questions, 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 and then we'll cover the second subject. Anybody have a questions of His Excellency? Anyone have any questions on what we're talking about in terms of the signature agreement between the Catholic Church and Islam as a basis of our initiative on peace?
I have a question, not about the initiative upon peace, but this is, and you know a lot of history, Hersha, so you'll probably know this. So for the papal bull that they put out in 1400 and something, has that ever been retracted publicly or?
No.
No, nope. That's one of the things that we're bringing up in the permanent forum. That's why we're doing
that would be a great thing, because it said perpetual, relegate to perpetual servitude, and that was for any. So that would be a good piece of it. I like what was just shared. It very promising, but I would throw that in as well.
So that's why, because the Catholic Church has observer status in the United Nations. Okay, and so when I'm talking to you about the rules of the permanent forum, that's how we can address it. Plus, we can address it in the working group of experts on people of African descent under the HRC special procedures. There's a whole thing, a way we can address it. We're taking it on. We're opening it up.
So Herschel,
Excellent.
before we go further, we do have one guest that has to
I have a
leave.
question.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Is this for me or is that someone else?
Well, if you
Yes,
could,
go
we do
go
have
ahead and ask your
yes,
question.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I apologize. I did get on late, but I have some interest related to the question that's at hand now related to the Catholic Church. At what level, and when you just said the Catholic Church, is this going to be on a diocese level?
It's the Pope. The
It's
Pope
the
signed
Pope.
it.
So it's directly with the Pope at the back end at the Holy See.
It's the Pope. The Pope signed the agreement.
it's
He's
in
got a
the chat.
low-level civil war going on in the Catholic Church because of it.
Yes, it's in the chat. Underneath the link to the chat. The link is in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. Because I was in a discussion here with one of the most seniors about the exact same thing we're talking about. So it's good to know that this has already been initiated, and I will look at it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, also we put a link there to in Bermuda in 2019. We actually had the Imam Salim Talbot meet with the papal representative there. So we documented this physically on the ground in Bermuda in 2019. But Herschel, I was about to tell you that some of our guests have to leave. So I'd like to ask Mr. Shola Agbula if he could briefly take the stand before he has to take off.
Sure, go ahead.
You. No, they can't wait.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sylvester, and unfortunately, Shola just got a call from the minister in Manitoba. So, as you all know, he's the founder and the chief executive of Shola Agbola Goodwill Ambassador Foundation. So he wanted to say hello because he's running for the office in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He is a member of parliament. That is why I stepped in as the Canadian rep. As soon as he's off his call, I'm going to tell him to say a word to the General Assembly. So I'm sorry he cannot say anything right now.
No worries, Sylvester. Thank you so much. Let me just also indicate to you that it was Shola Agbula on June the 23rd of 2020 that actually launched in Lagos, Nigeria, the Shola Agbula Goodwill and Ambassador Foundation. During his trip there, he was making a donation of $30 million worth of medical equipment and supplies that were donated by the government of Canada and corporations. In his role as president of the Nigerian Association for Young Adults in the US, in Canada and the USA, he had contributed a cumulative total of over $50 million. So during the 2020, he made the commitment to appoint me as his chairperson of the International Advisory Board for the SACA Foundation, so that we can uplift people around the world, Queen Mother, with the legacy of Kofi Annan and Kwame Nkrumah, so that we can reconnect our entire human families. But Sylvester, thank you so much. If he's able to come back, we'll certainly let us know, and we'll have him to introduce himself. Herschel, I'll turn it back to you. We do have a few other guests that haven't been yet introduced, but I'll turn it back.
Go ahead and introduce your guests, Andrew. I just want to point out for everybody that in Nigeria, okay, that we participated in the Universal Periodic Review of Nigeria in the 3rd cycle. So we look forward to working with all of those people who are in Nigeria relative to restarting that public-private partnership with the government in the next month. Thank you.
Well, certainly, and again,
And as Queen Mother, I'd like to jump in.
please.
I'm born
Yeah.
October 1, and that means Nigeria independence. For my 50th anniversary at the United Nations, Nigeria was able to celebrate my 50th year at the United Nations by having the party for me and the dancing for me and all the food we could eat. I am Ife, the goddess of love. Thank you.
Well, on that note, October is also, as you may or may not know, it's Black History Month or African History Month in London and Berlin. So we're anticipating an opportunity to have a worldwide celebration of your birthday, Queen Mother.
Blessing.
On that note, I'll turn it back to Michael Beatty. Michael, please introduce yourself and to yourself in the audience. Michael Beatty, Dr. Michael Beatty. Going once, going twice. If not, then I believe Mr. Rodney Brown, you're relatively close to me, so you can hear my voice. You can unmute and introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Clearly, go right ahead.
Yes, my name is Rodney Brown. I'm the CEO of New Life Global Development Corporation based here in Los Angeles, California. We are also a registered corporation at Brilla in the country of Tanzania and Zanzibar. And we are an economic development corporation, the home of resources for disaster relief, for real estate development, economic development across many sectors. We've recently traveled to East Africa to study the economic development situation there and the connection of the Arabic slave trade in that region. We are setting ourselves as a resource corporation for the things that's needed for the projects that are being presented to us, as I'm affiliated with a couple of other organizations, including the State of African Diaspora and ADDI. So
wait a minute, did you say the State of the African Diaspora?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are positioning ourselves to just be a part and play our part, a role in bringing assets, financing, resources, commodities to the projects continent-wide. We're connected to many of the organizations that I'm hearing here, and I just look forward to being able to provide some guide to resources. We are federal contractors, state of California contractors, county and local to Los Angeles and the city of Los Angeles. We're in the process of building 2,000 affordable housing units for those in the African American community here in Los Angeles. And we're at 750 units as we speak, and about to do a ribbon cutting on another 120 units at 1650 Florence, west of Western, in the city of Los Angeles. We also have a division where we focus on renewable energy, and we build solar farms, of which I've been a part of engineering solar arrays since 2009, trained in Southern California Edison. So this is a kingdom building calling for me. And I look forward to returning to Africa here within the next 60 days to travel to Senegal and Gorée Island with the assistance of Queen Bamboo, and to also start an economic development corporation hub on the island of Zanzibar. So I'm here to serve. I have many connections and other celebrities and corporations, equity funds, hedge funds that are looking for ways to provide assistance. And if we can package it correctly and make it make sense, I'm looking to create that portal where we can all come together and bring our packages, do feasibility studies, and actually get the heavy equipment and things that's needed and the finances needed to move these projects forward, and not to have too many conversations and meetings about talking about what we're going to do. But I like to hit the ground running and actually make an impact for our people. So again, my name is Rodney Brown. I'm the CEO of New Life Global Development You can find me anywhere on Google, on LinkedIn, and connect with me there, and you can find what we're doing locally and what we're planning on doing on the continent of Africa. So thank you so much.
So His Excellency Balde and Don Pope, I'm sitting here in the virtual, in the physical offices of Rodney Brown right this moment. And just today I explained to him that Sheriff Balde had been discussing ways that we could get a physical footprint here in the Los Angeles area for this flotilla project that he mentioned earlier. But I do want to make sure you understand that Don Polk, that the resources that we have at our fingertips all require compliance. And so I want to make sure that you both understand that what we're doing in the assisting Sharif Balde has global implications. So that Sharif Balde, may I bring up the Kunta Kinte Island project now before we move forward back to Herschel?
Yes, please. Please go ahead. And additionally, I just wanted to add this bit here. I have initiated a discussion with the senior presidential advisor of the Gambia to make special invitations to Herschel Daniels, Guy of UNESCO, and any other two of your choice to come and we concretize what we actually wanted to put up in the Gambia as a launching pad for the continent. Thank you.
Oops.
Queen Mother wanted to say something, please.
Please, no. Yes, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Rodney Brown.
Yes, Queen Mother.
Yes. Zanzibar is where you at, is that correct?
Zanzibar is where we're setting up our home, and I will be moving to Zanzibar. We're in negotiations now on 14 acres in the Kiungali White Sands project. And we're also looking presently for our permanent home there.
I'm very proud to hear you mention that. The former President Ali Wingi, I was just with him in a place called Zambia, and with Mzee Kenneth Kaunda, now is an ancestor. I was at his 95th birthday. So that the last time I seen the president, former President Ali Wingi, please let his brother, let his son know, and let his father know that you're in touch with Queen Mother Blakely in Harlem. And please give them my best regards, whatever I could do to be supported. Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the airport is named after my African father. That was my African Baba. I studied him. And so when you go into Tanzania, then at the airport, International Airport, he is up there based on his name and his spirit energy. He always wanted us to come home. Self-reliance, sustainable development. Mama Gertrude Mandela, she's the one in the young sister who is now the president of the country, which is there with Mama Gertrude Mandela. That is my big mama and my big sister. So if anything you need us to do to support you, please let Chairman Daniels and let our big prince know, Andrew, that you need some support from Queen Mother. That is home for me. That is my family. And I'm so pleased that you're gone east to home. They want us to come home, and they want us to move on southernly too, going on. And you know the language for Southern Africa and East Africa is Swahili. So please learn Swahili in Zanzibar. That's where I was trained Swahili, which is Kiswahili. Please learn the language and the tradition and the ways that carry on what we must do in returning home. Blessings to you and your mission economically. Blessings upon you.
Asante, asante, asante sana.
Asante sana, buona.
So Queen Mother, I'm not confused. When he was in Zanzibar, I knew there would be time for us to connect. That was months ago. I've just been waiting for the right time. So the question is not what you can do for him, it's what we can do together. Having said that, I'll open up the floor before I move on. It looks as though Michael Beatty might be able now to join us. If not, I'm going to see if Shola is back. And if not, then I'll share my screen about the Kunta Kinte project.
And Sylvester had his hand up for a few minutes. He's down now, but he did have his hand up, so.
Yes, thank you. I noticed that in the chat. And I did ask him to notify me if and when Ambassador Shola gets back. Thank you so much, Elder Prophet. I'm going to briefly share my screen with the Kunta Kinte project. This actually comes about as a result of the planning process that has been going on. Queen Mother, as a result of Makakuvu Ali El Bey, whom you were mentioned, who was mentioned to you last week. He and I began the World Media Coalition back in 2016. At that time, I was able to introduce him to King Du Bois, among other people, and we've been collaborating since then. When they brought to me this project for the flotilla, it only made sense that we look also to the physical conditions of the land there. So this Kunta Kinte Island, I'd like to share this with you right now. As you can see, or at least I'll read this, I'll read this out to you basically. I know it's too small to read, but the Kunta Kinte Island suffers from erosion. The specific location of Kunta Kinte Island at the mouth of the Gambia River is a tangible reminder of the story of the development of the Gambia River as one of the most important waterways for trade for all kinds, from the interior to the coast and beyond. Since 1996, the Gambia government has instituted an annual event called the International Roots Homecoming Festival. Considered to be a heritage week, the main aim is to attract visitors from the African diaspora. The festival usually devotes a day-long spiritual pilgrimage to Kunta Kinte Island and the Abrida Jufra area. Kunta Kinte Island is suffering heavy erosion and is now approximately 1/6 of its size during the time when the fort was active. Very fragile ruins of several of the British administrative buildings, a small jetty, and a number of—
Why do you want me to unmute? Mute.
You're already unmuted, please mute yourself. And a number of skeletal baobab trees remain. There needs to be an ongoing maintenance, monitoring, and conservation to allow these ruins to have the best chance of survival, because the island itself is low-lying. During high tide and storms, sometimes waves will beat against some of the surviving structures. The financial resources required for the management and maintenance of the sites are relatively scarce. Much support is needed. Sand dredging on the River Gambia. After extensive environmental impact assessments and almost a year of transporting equipment, operations are finally beginning on a major engineering project that aims to contribute to the Gambia's economic growth. About $10 million has reportedly been spent on the first phase of the project. Although sand dredging is a highly capital-intensive operation, it has advantages, including the removal of excess sand deposits to allow for the passage of large cargo ships and boats to boost trade and economic activities, improve the growth of mangroves along the river banks through the removal of debris and silt, reclamation of the receding beach line, and extract huge quantities of fine sand that are needed as raw materials for sustaining the Gambia's infrastructure development.
Okay.
So with that, thank you so much for allowing me to share that with you and put this on the plate of things that we certainly need to focus our attention and need to do. Thank you. I'll open up the floor for any comments or questions. Then unless Michael Beatty, you're here.
Andrew, this is John Moss. I have my hand up.
I couldn't see you. Go right ahead, John. Thank you.
Just wondering, earlier you were going to ask Queen Mother to talk about New Future Foundation, and we didn't hear that introduction, just FYI.
Well, the floor again for you, Queen Mother, is always open. If you have an opportunity, would you please share with us more about the New Future Foundation?
Yes, Queen Mother, as you know, I've been in and out of meetings, and you know what's happening in Haiti. And I'm very pleased that I was able to join in talking about many of the African countries in the East and well as in the West, and sharing also about Nigeria, of honoring me for my 50th anniversary as Queen Mother in Ife. It's a name that was given to me. I'm very moved, almost 80 years old, to hear this conversation, how we are going to move forward for sustainable and economic development for Mother Africa. New Future Foundation is at the United Nations, has two status at the UN. And I think Chairman Daniel mentioned too, by the chair, the Undersecretary of Africa, that I'm the Queen Mother of civil society. And so I represent all of us. And I think that's the most important part, what Queen Mother is saying. At the United Nations now, we've been involved with the global community since 1968. And the first country, Tanzania and Nigeria, brought me in, since I do not have my own member state. And in saying that to you, I think the time has come, as you know, that the elders just went to Ghana, landed yesterday. And you know, I was a catalyst for that in Oklahoma because of the massacre. The three elders all lived as a survival over 100 years old. So this has been sort of some of the work of New Future Foundation. New Future Foundation been engaging on every level at the United Nations. And at this time, whatever ways that you see befitting for Queen Mother to be a part of sustainable development, and the time frame that we're dealing with now with the Permanent People's Forum just been formed and dedicated in the UN, and we need to be looking at 2063 in the sustainable development engagement for Mother Africa. So we on the front line of many member states, which you're talking about is Region 6 of the AU, which is the African Union, but I was very much involved what we used to call the OAU, which many of the elders that was a part of that. And I think that the AU is less than 20 years old. So I just wanted to share that with you. And yes, I spoke to the heads of state in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, when it was the OAU, and two heads of state in 1987. So Queen Mother been around the block more than one time. And Queen Mother is now getting ready with the reopening of the United Nations back for my 52 years as a humanitarian. So thank you for allowing me to join you tonight. And I'm going to say blessings to all of you. And please be prayerful at this time for our divine family. I give thanks.
Thank you. I love you so much. And also about Agenda 2063. They're breaking that into 10-year chunks. We're now in the first phase of 2014 to 2023. So now between now and 2023, it's time for us to push the agenda for the next 10 years. So let's keep that in mind. Thank you so much.
Don't forget, the word is from Queen Mother from Tulsa to Ghana, from Tulsa to the United Nations. President Joe Biden, cut the check. Blessings to all of you.
Herschel, the floor is back to yours.
And to all, blessings to all of you. Joe Moss and the prophet, blessings to all of you this evening, the elder prophet.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Our dearly beloved brother from Ghana, from the Gambia. And you know,
thank you, Queen.
That I'm, as soon as I can get to the Gambia, I will be there to be with you. And I am in support of your project. I was named in Jufri with Mama Kente. My name is Fatimatu Kente, given to me.
Alhamdulillah. Praise to God. Thank you.
Then you'll be our matron.
Queen Mother.
You'll be our matron then, right?
Yes.
You're going to be a matron, right?
Yes,
All
yes.
right,
by
very
all-
well.
In the spirit of my ancestors.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Assalamu alaikum, my dearly beloved brother. Thank you and blessings to all of you.
Walaikum
Bless-
assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Blessings.
Bless- Thank you.
So to sum up where we have so far, there is a return to Africa movement in general, but that we have a specific program that now is the best time to make it happen, as the cruise line industry has sidelined tens of ships of sufficient size and cost, and that there are crews and that there is COVID-19 protocols that we can put in place for signing up on such to make such a journey possible. So accelerated around that with August 25th as a date for the Biden administration, with that is the date that in 2019 that we called for a Black family reunion. In 2020, COVID hit. And so we can put out another call on August 25th for a Black family reunion based on this travel, based on putting this together around this to do Kwanzaa based on the work that Andrew started, that we picked up, called the Kwanzaa Accords, based on making a call in 2022 around the 9th Pan-African Congress at Kwanzaa time as an institutional play in support of the permanent forum on people of African descent, and the modality that is already in place right now is of 6 August, that the resolution that adopted by the United Nations General Assembly 75th session as an agenda item 70B in the elimination of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, related intolerance, comprehensive implementation, and follow up on Durban Declaration and Program of Action. Whereas we've already stated that with the Gambia being the home of the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in 2022, and that we've adopted from the Egyptian, signing of this with and the UAE, that we can put together an overarching grand strategy to actualize the permanent form that has been established in fact, on August 2nd, and implement it in the modalities in the United Nations on August 6th. And so questions on that agenda. Does that agenda meet all of those of us who are here on this call?
Well, let me first say that, Herschel, I'm intending to hold us accountable to the Kwanzaa Accord. And so I will be including each day at least a mention of the relevant Kwanzaa principle for that day as we go forward, to begin to get into the practice of acknowledging the importance of these universal principles, not just to ourselves, but to all people of African descent. And as far as I'm concerned, that means everyone on earth. But I'll turn it back over to you.
So opening ceremonies, lift every voice and sing to the Creator, and then the principle and the opening statement. Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
So with that being said, then
Tomorrow
coming
begins,
together,
and tomorrow begins unity, just to make that clear. And today
Right,
we're transitioning from faith to unity.
and unity, what we're going to talk about, unity in the community, to make sure that all of our children and elders and everyone in the community is fed, is going to be the focus tomorrow. Okay.
I just wanted to remind Mr. Daniels about the United Nations event that happened on the 6th of August. We were awaiting the follow-up story for the tabloid in the Gambia, where the African Union Human Rights Commission is headquartered, so that we complete the story, because they published the petition and now they want to complete the story, the achievements, and whatever was said on the 6th of August, so that they can publish it. So if you
Yes,
can
sir.
provide the material, the
Yes, sir.
editor
Yes,
demanded.
yes, I can. You'll have it in your hand on Monday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
You'll have
much.
the story in your hand on Monday. Okay, so that for that publication, because this is an important part that we have to play, because the United Nations is only paying for one full-time staffer. Okay. And so that it's established with a mandate to contribute to the full political, economic, and social inclusion of people of African descent in the societies in which they live as equal citizens without discrimination of any kind, and contribute to the ensuring equal enjoyment of all human rights. So that's why, as we said, that I sent to His Excellency for us to base this on the Universal Periodic Review dealing with the issue between the Great Divide that is going on between Christianity and Islam, that we have a focus that we can bring together based on the mandate of the International Decade of People of Descent, okay, but now is included in the mandate for the establishment of the permanent forum on people of African descent, which is meant to provide in coordination with existing mechanisms. Okay, provide in coordination with existing. Doesn't say we can't create new mechanisms. Expert advice and recommendations to the Human Rights Council and the main committees of the General Assembly and organs, programs, funds, and agencies of the United Nations. So committee 3, 4, and 5, so we can submit to those committees aimed at addressing challenges of all the scourges of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance in all their contemporary forms and manifestations confronted by people of African descent that impede the full and effective realization and enjoyment of all their human rights and fundamental freedoms. Question? Okay. So it's supposed to be a mechanism to monitor and review progress on the effective implementation of the program of activities of the International Decade for People of African Descent. And to this end, gather relevant information from governments, United Nations bodies and organs, intergovernmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, and other relevant sources. So I don't know, other than Queen Mother and myself, who else has submitted to the International Decade for People of African Descent a program of activities.
I think I may have been muted. I had a question for His Excellency. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Assalamu
Yes,
alaikum.
clearly.
You
Wa alaikum
mentioned
assalam wa
the-
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You mentioned the OIC event in 2022. Is there registration information available, or is it too early?
No, it isn't too early. I earlier shared the OIC local secretariat website, and I can also go to the secretariat and get special permission for organizations that are interested as observer status or whatever, and send you all the details that is required.
So you post that in the chat, or will you send it to me directly?
Yep, if you leave your email, I will
I'm
send it to
posting
you
it in the
directly.
chat, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can do that. I'll also send it to the Mr. Daniels and Williams so that they can send it to any other group that is interested, because this is the second largest World Assembly of leaders in the whole globe, in the whole world, after the United Nations General Assembly. So
What
we will
month in
surely make sure that
2022? What month in 2022 will this take place?
it should take place in November 2022.
Okay, so we're about a year out still. Okay.
Definitely, yes, sir.
Those able
Okay.
to can click on the three buttons or three dots at the bottom right of the chat and download the Save the Chat. I will, Hanif, I will actually get this to you specifically, though I do have your email. First of all, I'll turn it back over to you as we move to close.
And as in the chat, what we've agreed that this year, utilizing the permanent form, that we can set up a program together that would and could lead to a future agreement as a public-private partnership, starting with the Gambia, but other nations that this group and others who join in with us will work together. Starting August 25th, what we will be doing each day is we will have a Google Doc that we will build up a memorandum of understanding between us all. And that we will put forth tomorrow that Google Doc around feeding us all, 1.6 billion people, and making use of the assets of the USDA, which has, as currently as June 30th, a couple of $100 billion worth of unobligated funds.
Good. That'll be tomorrow at 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock your
That will be
time.
tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Thank you so very much. Ms. Bernice Aitchison, are you able to pray us out?
Could I remind all the new people to put their company name, email, and telephone number in the chat so we can have it a record?
Also, Mr. Managing Director, Carmen, Mr. Managing Director, I'd like to talk to you and Brother John Jackson.
Yes, sir.
The ship.
Yes, sir. We've got a minute left. Elder Cox.
After you close.
Yes. Elder Cox, who did you call on, Andrew?
Bernice Aitchison.
Bernice.
I submit to Elder Cox if she so desires.
Oh, ma'am, you're going to take us out. Thank you so much.
You have already filled my cup for this day. I feel unworthy to come before you. But God, I'm so humble to be in the midst of this group, to be able to learn and to be a part of it. And I'm glad that you've thought enough of me to assign this task to me on this day. So may we pray. Father in heaven, we come. We come in adoration of this cosmos. You have formed all by the speaking of your word. We thank you, Lord. You knew we needed a sun to warm the earth, and you set a moon in its socket and told it to change 4 times a month. And that causes the season of the year to change 4 times a year. And you, Lord, broke off a piece of iridescent light, flung it over your shoulders, and there sit the stars at night. And every once in a while, you will allow one to fall out of his socket, but you don't let it hit the earth. You stay your hand over us, giving us mercy, sending each one of us on our way to perform in your master plan, where we find grace that wrapped itself in his presence around us, blesses us for the obedience that we show forth in it, and it presents to the Father. And Lord, we come asking forgiveness for our transgressions. And when you raise us up, Lord, give us strength for another day to accomplish the work that we have not finished. Lord, put your arms of mercy around us. And if that's not possible, and everlasting sleep come, take me on to glory. And may all say, well done. Rest in peace. But the work must go on. In the name of the Most High God, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. In him do I put my hope. My hope is to find a pathway to rest and to abide in your unforceable rhythm of grace, that I may sleep in peace forever. Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
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 Oh,
Amen. Amen.
Love to all. We're gonna call it a day. Have a fantastic day, everyone. I give your day back to you.
Thank you.
blessings, everybody.
Blessing, blessing.